like Benson, I'm a Who Dat. I'm a Who Dat. Long as I'm living, I'm a Who Dat. Lose or winning, I'm a Who Dat. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a Who Dat. I'm a Who Dat. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like Elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your shade for the championship. Bucking on Tampa, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees or Roger Goodell. Probably like this and I'm a Who Dat. Every day I'm living, I'm a Who Dat. Lose or winning, I'm a Who Dat. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a Who Dat. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. You're listening to the sports coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
You spend that much capital, you spend that much, that many resources on one position, it better pay off. And that's kind of where the Saints are. And they have Pro Bowlers in a couple of the spots already. They've moved first rounder Trevor Penning inside. They got Kelvin Banks, who's a stud, outplaying tackle. This should be at the least a way to make whatever quarterback comes in comfortable. You mentioned the receivers. We know Chris Olave is really good. Looked great in practice today. Had 4 or 5 big-time catches. Rashid Shaheed gaining about 10 or a little more pounds, trying to be a little sturdier. You know, he seems like a guy who could become one of the better young receivers in the NFL. This is probably the best offensive line the Saints have had in some time, right? I mean, you spend that much capital, you spend that many resources on one position, it better pay off. And that's kind of where the Saints are. I mean, they have Pro Bowlers in a couple of the spots already. They've moved first rounder Trevor Penning inside. They got Kelvin Banks, who's a stud, outplaying tackle. This should be at the least a way to make whatever quarterback comes in comfortable. You mentioned the receivers. We know Chris Olave is really good. Looked great in practice today. Had 4 or 5 big-time catches. Rashid Shaheed gaining about 10 or a little more pounds, trying to be a little sturdier. You know, he seems like a guy who could become one of the better young receivers in the NFL.
All right. What's y'all say about that? Welcome. Now rocking with the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys, where we have intense, entertaining, educating, and enlightening sport talk from your favorite sports fam. Shout out to y'all. Appreciate y'all for being in this live. We up in this thing, man, and listen, we're going to talk a little black and gold, man. Listen, today was a good practice early on, man, and guess what? Spencer Rattler is still on top of the rotation, man, so it is something. But anyway, let's kind of jump right into it. Hear from Kellen Moore, man. Then we'll bounce back with some of this really good game about what's going on with our black and gold. Here we go.
Perspective, and so we had to send the developmental group inside for the finishing part of practice, but it was great practice.
Have you had a practice that hot before? Like, do you remember one at different levels? Was this crazy hot or was it normal?
It was really hot. Obviously, you know, that's what it is. Every once in a while during training camp, every place you've been, you're going to catch a few hot days, and this was one of them. And so for our guys, it was good.
Kellen, what do you kind of hope to see out of kind of this competition behind Alvin, running back? Like, you got a lot of guys with some good experience.
Yeah, we got a nice blend. Some guys who've been in this league for a number of years, who contributed at high levels that we're excited to see, and some younger guys. And so for those guys, it's going to be just a matter of taking advantage of those opportunities. Running backs, having games has a big component of it, just because of the component of tackling and breaking tackles and all that. But these guys done a good job.
Now, how much do you look forward to the pads on the ball?
Yeah, that's a big part. Ultimately, that's what we're building towards. This whole entire offseason program has been built to the point where you're actually in pads, and that's ultimately how you play this game. And so it'll be good. It'll take a few days for our guys to get used to it, because it's been a long time for a lot of these guys. It's January or February that they were last wearing pads, and so there'll be an acclimation period a little bit, just getting used to that, getting the pad level low, kind of the physicality and the finish.
What have you thought about Cade so far throughout training camp? I mean, we know obviously him with his team and whatnot, but are you kind of starting to see him pay dividends a little bit with what he could be in the game?
Yeah, you're seeing it. He's an excellent player. Obviously, we know that part of it. I think his ability to play on the edge is going to be a huge advantage. His ability to play a number of different ways. I think he can set the edge really, really well. He's got explosiveness in obviously the pass rush game, and so it'll be a big part of this defense.
Your evaluation of the quarterbacks today, and then just in general, are they about where you hope they would be 4 days in?
Yeah, I think there's going to be highs and lows for all of them. There's going to be some good moments. There's going to be some rough moments that we get to learn from, and that's part of what training camp is about. And so I think anytime you come off an off day, there's a little bit of get back into it. I think it's good for our guys to get used to that. You have 3 really good days, you have an off day, and now you kind of got to hop back into it and start fast. And so, all of our guys can get used to that rhythm and routine because that's how the season's going to go.
You've mentioned the off days or the, building from setbacks, the interceptions, bad passes. Is that sort of always been your philosophy to use, the worst rep to build on?
Well, certainly, I think those are the ones you're going to grow most from. And I think for our guys, handling those are probably, just more important than, handling all the highs. And so there's a time where you're going to reach a point where you're just going to have a ton of highs. You're going to have to handle that as well. But, those guys got to learn from some things, and they got to have first level experiences, go through some things and navigate it.
Was taking the Fowler over to the other field with I think it was 3 today.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just because you're trying to get as many reps as you can with these guys?
Yeah. We did a 2-spot drill, and we'll do those on occasion throughout camp. It's just a way of maximize as many reps as we can while not being out here for 3 hours. And so it's a chance for us to get 8 reps, and by doing on 2 fields we get 16 reps.
Kellen, it seems like Danny Stutzman's been making plays and then getting some snaps with the ones. Is that predetermined as you go into camp? Who's going to get in with the ones? Or do you earn that? Has he earned chances to play with one?
Well, certainly, like every position, especially early in training camp, we're going to rotate these guys as much as we can. But I will say Danny's done an excellent job. Big time interception today. Matched up on a receiver in the middle of the field and kind of has great awareness and feel, and he matches the routes really, really well and made a big time play. And so he's just been making a bunch of consistent plays like that, and they've been showing up a ton.
Who are some of the guys that have worn the communication device besides Myers?
All those linebackers just kind of rotate. They'll all have different opportunities there. We'll see.
The play from Julian Blackman in here and what you've seen from him so far.
For a guy who showed up just a couple days ago and just hops in and plays defense and is communicating at such a high level, it shows the experience and the high football IQ that he has. He's a big time player. Again, when the transition happened, Tyron ended up deciding to retire. We've been kind of in communication with Julian for really most of the offseason as we kind of went through this, and so when the opportunity presented itself, felt like a win-win for both sides.
Is that unusual that a guy like him would still be on the market in the middle of the summer?
We obviously feel fortunate. He's a big-time player. He's contributing in a lot of different ways. Everyone's going through different situations. Sometimes you're waiting for the right opportunity from a player perspective, just making sure you put yourself in the best position moving in for the season. And so I think this thing's going to work out great for all sides.
It sounded like Staley said something like, I've waited 5 years for that. Is he a player that you wanted a long time ago? Did he bring that up to you?
Brandon certainly, yes. We got 3 Utah guys. They played big-time football at Utah, especially on defense for a really long time. And so, we're fired up to get them.
Do you have any certain plan with going live? You do live tackling with the physicality, ramping up?
We'll see. Potentially, as this thing progresses towards the tail end, we get into some scrimmage settings right before the Chargers. We may get into some live stuff, but not tomorrow.
How about the rotation of the quarterbacks? Is that like a style going to be the first pass tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll just keep talking through it, and we'll continue to rotate these guys as much as we can.
In Spencer today, he had a nice dump off pass to Alvin for a touchdown off the blitz. Is that kind of indicative of him kind of growing, in this offense, like being able to recognize things and stuff along those lines?
Yeah, I think Spencer is a really decisive, gets the ball out of his hands really quickly. He's very, very confident in that form, and so he does a really, really good job. And I think that's one thing that he certainly recognized with him. When he sees a blitz, he gets the ball out of his hands, he finds the completion. He's done a nice job from that standpoint.
The 2 words that players have used throughout camp to describe your process are calculated and confident. Do you feel like the preparedness breeds the confidence, or do you think that trickles down and the players don't have to think about it as much?
It's a great question. I think certainly a lot of this thing is building up for Sundays in the fall, and so we're doing everything we can from a physical standpoint and then from a mental standpoint. And so, our team meetings trying to prepare ourselves for how do we win football games, how do we, understand situational football, what wins and loses games in this league. We're trying to hammer that stuff as much as we can because that can be a big advantage for us.
Kellen, I know Julian Blackman played kind of rotated almost by years, strong safety, free safety.
Yeah.
Did you have a vision for a position defense depth? I know his versatility is key, but is there a role you had specifically?
Certainly our safeties will be able to play, both sides of it. Justin naturally plays down a little bit more, and so Julian will play back a little bit more. Percentage just told you. But, those guys will be able to play both sides. And that's the versatility that both those guys have played throughout their career. So, obviously a huge advantage. And, Julian even played a little corner back in the Utah days. Not that we're going to ask him to do that, but he does have that flexibility and that coverage ability to perform, in those situations.
Not to make too big of a deal of the interception, but I guess for both, what kind of vantage point for the QB was like miscommunication or anything?
Yeah. I think, I'm an offense guy, but we got to say 2 really good plays on the defensive side. I thought both guys just made really, really good plays from a defense perspective. And quarterbacks, again, just ball placement and, giving ourselves an opportunity. So we'll evaluate on film and see if there's any other coaching points.
Do you guys have any benchmarks or goals that you want to meet before you guys head to California?
we're just going to continue to grow, continue to develop. We'll have a scrimmage here towards the tail end of this week, and then transition into the next phase of this thing, which gets us geared up towards preseason. And so there'll be a continued building process here.
Will the injured guys come to California with you? Like Jason?
Yeah.
What kind of growth have you seen from the offensive line?
They've done a really good job. They've done everything we've asked of them. They're working really well together. There's a lot of communication, verbal and nonverbal, that those guys have to spend time and invest on. And the pads is the next component. Ultimately, that's the big piece that still needs to be added to the equation. And the offensive defense line, that'll be a fun battle for those guys for the next few days. All good? All right.
All right, that's Kellen Moore, man, and talking about what he's seen in practice. A lot of good questions, man, from the media. Shout out to the media covering our black and gold this year. I was watching X and seeing a lot of really great observations from camp. Shout out to one of my favorite reporters, John Hendricks, who did a really good job, as he usually does, of covering the Saints training camp. He made a lot of great observations about what he's seen. We know about the Julian Blackmon interception, the picks that he had in practice, and just picking up and just jumping right in there. And like I said, if you watch Julian Blackmon, who is the safety the Saints picked up immediately after Tyrann Mathieu retired, they picked up Blackmon from the Colts. He was a free agent on a 1-year deal at just over $5 million, over $5 million. And it's a 1-year prove it deal. But Blackmon gets picks, is what he does. He gets picks. He has a bit of an injury history. He's healthy now. But the thing is, you won't always want a guy back there who has the speed, and he does, who can locate and recognize what's going on and then have the ability to get to where he needs to be. If you're going to be back there as a last line of defense type of player, right? So we have to be mindful of that. So he had a positive impact in practice as the Saints team continues to develop. Very interesting battles going on right there. And this is a lot of people are excited. They're enthused about all of the changes. You know, the fact that you have Spencer Rattler. We know Spencer was prepared mentally to go into this season in his second year and take a starting job. He's not going to waste any time, rather, jawing at his competition and giving them any more fuel that they need to compete against you. He's not doing that at all. What he's doing is he's keeping it all positive, playing a high road, and he's focusing on becoming a starting NFL quarterback full time. Of course, that's just a part of Spencer pulls that off. Tyler Shuck will constantly be on his heels, trying to, Spencer would have to stay ahead of the curve, right? Because, at any given time, if you have a multiple interception game or whatever, they could possibly pull him in favor of the second round draft pick, who this man to here picked. But right now, Spencer's doing a phenomenal job of operating and doing his thing early on in the rotation. And that's a positive, right? That's positive. So shout out to you guys for being in the stream. Do me a service. Y'all hit that like button as we get going in this Sunday afternoon version of the Coma. Shout out to Renee, Byron. Good to see y'all. Mont Dog is in the building as well. Scoob, big ups to your brother Gundam. KT, big ups to you, man. Good to see you as well, my brother. Jayden, shout out to you. Brother Bastion is in this thing as well. Big ups, bro. Good to see you out there as well. Pelicans, Nola, big ups to you. Appreciate each and every last one of you guys for being in the live. Do me a service, hit the like button, and by all means, feel free to sub up if you're not a sub of the Coma. What's up, brother Jerry Covington? Shout out to you, bro. Good to see you. King Chosen One is in this thing as well. Appreciate you, brother. Much love. So we're going to get into this. Also, I'm not done with the interviews yet. Kendre Miller had an interview I was going to play right after we talk a few things here and hit this news notes for shout out to Saints Wire, who kind of talked about the rotation with Spencer Rattler still being on top of that thing. What's up, Beverly? Shout out to Beverly. Shout out to the Queens, man. All right, Fort practice, man. The Saints caused the quarterback's rotation to roll over. And guess what? Spencer Rattler, not Tyler Shuck, who took the first team practices today. The second year pro had a strong performance on Friday with the second string offense, where Jake Hayner led the first team, and Shuck took the third. None of Rattler's passes fell incomplete. He gets another shot to lead the starting offense. And that's a good way of doing it, right? Because you don't want, if you're the New Orleans Saints, you most certainly do not want to put a quarterback in there who's not ready, right? We know Tyler Shuck eventually will get to a point in his career, whether it's this year or later on, right, that he will find an ability because he's just talented. He's a big guy with a strong arm. He has good play recognition. He's just inexperienced, right? More, even more inexperienced than the other guys that we have on the team. And right now, Spencer Rattler recognizes that and have played in those 6 games, even though he didn't win anything, but in terms of the games, but he gained the experience to get used to. 6 games is a lot of experience as a young quarterback in a losing year because you get to experience the speed of the NFL game, right? You get to call the plays. And he had the temper. He has the temperament. He has the pocket command. He has the arm. He has the scramblability. He has play recognition. He got to tighten up on some of these things that he usually do, like most of these inexperienced quarterbacks have, in terms of them reading quicker, recognizing what's going on, getting everybody together. And it's a thinking man's game in terms of the quarterback position, because you got to know what everybody's doing, and not just your guys, but the guys across the way who coming over there to knock the piss out of you. You got to know to recognize what's going on, who's coming over here, there, who's moving this movement here, who's tipping their hand, this type of stuff. You got to be able to see that. And we've seen Tyler Shuck did recognize some of that stuff in camp. We've seen Spencer do the same thing. He did some of that last year, and using the minus of last year to build the plus this year is a positive for Spencer, and he's using it. So right now he is out in the lead, right? So let's get to the rest of this article right here. Not too surprising to see Rattler on top of the depth chart, at least not for now. He was always going to get the opportunity to start given his seniority, though Tyler Shuck, the rookie draft pick, needs to prove to the coaching staff that he's a better option. At the same time, Rattler needs to keep stringing together good days and building his case. It's interesting that all of his reps, his practice reps to this point, have come with the first and second team offense. Shuck, Hayner, and rookie free agent Hunter Deckers have all spent time with the third string. Not Rattler. That's a biggie. Can Rattler hold on to the job? Maybe he's got a live arm and some pro experience under his belt, but he must demonstrate real growth from his rookie year performance. He still threw more interceptions, 5, than touchdowns, 4. Didn't win a single game he appeared in, 7 of them overall, and he is a better situation now with better weapons available to him and a new coaching staff. Hopefully he can make the most of it. You best believe. If you know the temperament of one known as Spencer Rattler, you know that's the thing. The moment the quarterback retired, that opened up everything. Spencer Rattler knows he has a year of experience over Tyler Shuck. Never played an NFL game. Spencer has that, that experience of those 6 games. I forgot about the 7th game, which is the half a game that he came in when Jake Hayner, which game was that, fam? Do y'all remember which game? Because some of these games, I just put them right on. That was that first half of that game was awful. Which game was that? I just forgot. But it was the game where Jake Hayner was dead in the water. The entire first half was trash. I would have pulled him after the first quarter because the offense had no life, no energy, no soul, no nothing. And they were just out there stinking. And then the second half came, and then Spencer Rattler walked into that huddle and commanded the team. They almost came back and won that game, by the way. The Commanders. That's right. Thank you, KT. It was against the Commanders. That first half, the Saints would have won that game. They would have, if they would have put Spencer Rattler in that second quarter and benched him, or at least gave him half a quarter, they would at least got a touchdown or something, because when he came in right away, it was a whole nother game. They just ran out of time. The first half was just pathetic. It was one of the worst games that I've seen the Saints offense play in a long time. I mean, Jake Hayner had no presence. You might as well had Casper the Ghost back there running that damn thing. The Invisible Man, or whoever you got, the Invisible Woman, either one of them back there, it would have been the same thing. It had nothing. It was like bland food, no seasoning, no nothing. You bite into it, don't remind you of nothing. It was terrible. But then Spencer come in, get the cooking. The offense started to move in, and that's when people knew that Jake Hayner didn't have it. That's when you knew, because they gave him a shot. He wasn't even supposed to get that shot. That was supposed to be Spencer's shot. But they put that man in there and he wasn't ready. Is he ready this year? You just slide down and down. I'm telling you, if you either got it or you don't, right? So anyway, man, let's keep it moving and grooving, man. And let's go to this article right here from the NewOrleansSaints.com and go right to it. And this is some of the takeaways for today and provided by them. Shout out to them. The quick hits, they say, as part of NFL bring together weekend or bring NFL's back together weekend coverage. NFL Network was on site. Ian Rappaport and another reporter, Jeff, was along with Aaron Summers to talk about the Saints' upcoming season. Only one player did not participate in Sunday's practice. That was linebacker Demario Davis, which was an excused absence. The offense wore black jerseys and the defense wore white jerseys for the first time since training camp began. The first 3 days were the reverse. A sellout crowd showed up because we always show up and show out at practice number 4, the largest attendance to date. Despite the heat, the sellout crowd was in to the practice and, as usual, made themselves heard almost every rep because the Who Dat Nation is ready for some winning stuff here. And Kellen Moore is providing that. Young coach, innovative, is basically taking what he did in Philadelphia and mimicking here. Who's going to fill this role? Who's going to do this role? Who's going to do that? That type of thing. And the great thing about it is the Saints have a lot of good players that can step in and step out. Plus the fact that he won recently, that energy is still there. So is that buy into him. It don't take a lot for you to buy into. The man just won a Super Bowl last year as an offensive coordinator, and he bringing that here. So you can't, even with the most forgetful of people, that play football, that's on the team. That is, you got to at least remember that much, right? So it's pretty important, man, just to kind of drop that. All right. So anyway, despite the heat, the sellout crowd was into the practice as usual. Despite the heat, quarterback Spencer Rattler worked with the first unit Sunday, followed by Tyler Shuck, then Jake Hayner. Newly signed defensive veterans Julian Blackman and Jonathan Bullard also worked first team reps during drill Sunday. Blackman split time at safety with third-year veteran Jordan Howden. In Davis' absence, Saints rookie 4th-round draft pick Danny Stutzman also split first-team reps at linebacker with Nephi Sewell. Kicker Charlie Smith attempted 5 field goals Sunday into the east end zone and went 3 of 5. He messing up big time, man, with his misses coming from 41 and 46, both left hash, and into a slight breeze. It's been a bit of a slow start for the Irishman, who last season displayed a tremendous leg but could not beat out the incumbent Blake Grupe. So far, Smith is 5 for 10 on field goals, 50%. Blake Grupe is out kicking the inexperienced Charlie Smith. So, well, good is having power if you can't make it accurate. Number 2, hot, that weather, man. Well, we knew coming back to Metairie for the Saints camp was going to bring the opportunity for the family members to come out and watch the team for the first time in 2 years. We also knew that coming back was going to bring the heat and humidity element back to practice, which last year in Irvine, California was quite honestly non-existent. Sunday, after a few warm practice, the heat really hit hard. Temperatures soared from 88 degrees. That's why they went out there so early. 9:15 a.m. with a heat index of 102, and that was the practice before really kicked in. To the players' credit, they battled through. Despite the offense struggling at times, no player left practice early due to heat-related issues. That is a blessing. As a matter of fact, we have heard 4 separate players tell the media that they have never felt so fresh 4 days into a training camp, with the emphasis on the Saints training staff led by Ted Rath on rest and recovery. Now, we heard Tyler Shuck talk about that. We talked about that yesterday, didn't we, fam? When we kind of reintroduce the family members to Ted Rath and be like, this is the guy right here that is tasked with getting players ready and making them durable mentally and physically ready for a long season. So it's good to hear that talking point, right? It got so warm at the end of practice that the developmental period was moved to the indoor facility for the first 5-10 minutes of practice, which Coach Moore dubbed the wet bowl due to the amount of perspiration that was sweated out for all who involved. 3 of the next 4 practices, including Monday, will be in pads. So if this expected heat continues, the players' physical and mental states will be tested, but that is exactly what training camp is for. And indeed, if you're training safely in the New Orleans heat, baby, let me tell you something. You're going to be ready. You're going to be ready. You're going to be ready. If you have intelligence, innovation, accountability, and a good training staff, you got a good guy running your training and recovery, knowing when to stop guys, knowing when to give people breaks, understanding, how to move as far as that's concerned, man. The Saints are going to be well prepared to go into the rest of the NFL and just really take it to them. And this is the thing that people are telling me in terms of the training camp, how the feel, the vibe, the energy is different. Right. You got the ex-coach and his quarterback going. So you got an innovative young coach who has talent. Now, I've said that. I keep saying that the Saints are not devoid of talent. I don't understand what they keep talking about with the Saints' worst depth chart in the NFL. That is totally that's foolishness. Yeah, you got top-notch people. We haven't seen the best of guys like Rashid Shaheed. Elvin Kamara is still a top 5 running back in this here NFL. Chris Olave is still one of the best wide receivers in the game. Juwan Johnson got the big payday. He ready to step this here thing up and do his thing. So, and then of course you heard Ian Rappaport talk about the Saints offensive line. How they beefed the line up and how the guys look and how they feel. Kelvin Banks Jr. at the left side, right side is Tali Fuaga. And then of course, you got Nugent and these other guys operating on the offensive line. The seriousness, even when we talked about when McCoy was cursing people out, y'all remember that? Put one in the chat. Y'all remember the reports that was McCoy. Tyler Shuck said that. He said he got fussed at by Eric McCoy. Now we know Eric McCoy is a super cool dude, but Eric McCoy is, he know it's time to take this thing to another level. They was cussing him out and cussing people out for not being with his. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Get them together. We serious here. It's about we got to get the win in here again. We done fooled around enough. We done seen funk and filth for the last 4 years. We seen excuse letting. It's time for winning, man. It's time to get this stuff right. We got great players on this team, and we don't want to waste no more time with chicanery and screwing up and crap, right? But anyway, Danny Stutzman was one guy we just heard Kellen Moore talked about. Play. Let me see if I can kind of play this for y'all right quick. All right, hold on. Stutzman he read the play and made the pick on the ball. So Danny Stutzman doing his thing out here. Here it is right here, fam. Let me show it to you again. That's a throw, and Stutzman jumped up and picked the thing off and went the other way. But yeah, if you know anything about Danny Stutzman, man, if you watch him play, Stutzman is a hell of a linebacker, man. It's a great pickup by the Saints. You get this guy, emotional guy, smart, read it, can cover, just a solid football player. And he's the future at the linebacker position once Demario Davis hangs him up, right? All right, play of the day. Speaking of which, let's get to it, man. As mentioned before, the offense was a bit sluggish thanks to the nice defensive play combined with the heat. 2 picks would be the highlights. The first one took place during the 7-on-7 red drill, with the offense headed into the east end zone. Spencer Rattler at the QB position. With the ball at the 15-yard line, Rattler looked to throw the touchdown pass to Cedric Wilson Jr., who appeared to be open briefly, right? Linebacker Danny Stutzman, as y'all just seen, that was the play, had other ideas. He stepped in front of the dart thrown by Rattler and picked off the pass to much delight of the defensive teammates. Stutzman then showed some speed as he scampered the other direction untouched, and it would have gone for a long gain touchdown. Nice reaction by the rookie, who again made the most of his first team reps. The other play was beyond the sight of the family members as it took place during the developmental period inside of the building. On the third rep, with Jake Hayner at the quarterback, receiver Chris Tyree looked to break toward the left back pylon of the end zone, but safety Julian Blackman was in perfect coverage and easily picked the pass off. Not bad for someone who was literally signed the day training camp began nearly a week ago. And he'll continue to get better with every passing day. Look forward to Monday and the first practice in pads, the official beginning to every training camp. So there you go, baby. Monday's coming. It's tomorrow. So we'll continue to watch and monitor all of the great things the black and gold are doing on the field of play. So, yeah, and that's one of the things that we kind of talked about, man, when you're dealing with guys like Stutzman and all these guys, man, they're great pickups. Like we talked about the Saints draft picks. The Saints had all these draft picks that, usually they'll make a trade and trade this guy to get this guy, all this kind of stuff. The Saints stayed packed and picked and draft these guys, and every last one of them has a chance to make the team, right? Some, we'll see. Matavo, one of the two of the 7th round draft picks, Matavo most certainly is looking to make a roster. A lot of these other guys will as well. So, I mean, it's just getting them all together, man, the temperament, and they actually doing a hell of a job thus far. Anyway, let's move on, man, because I want to be able to listen to this man right here. Kendre Miller, the big focal point on the Saints running attack outside of AK-41 is who complements him, who will be the guy, right? Who will be the running back. And we know about the drafting of Devin Neal. We know about them signing Cam Akers. We know about Clyde Edwards-Helaire. We know about a couple of the undrafted guys. You can even go further down and talk about Marcus Yarns, and Velus Jones Jr. is more of a return man, but he has the running back position title. But it'll be more than likely the open battle for the second string quarterback position is Kendre Miller's to lose, right? So let's hear from Kendre Miller, man, about what he said today.
Every day to wake up and just still be in the building, just grind with the guys, and like I said, we just out there grinding together. But it feels good to be out there with them.
Do you find that Kellen's offense maybe asks you to do things that are more akin to like what you did at TCU or anything like that, that kind of play your strengths a little bit?
Yeah, especially like when we first got here and we went through OTAs or whatnot. I was definitely like, this is what I ran at TCU, and I feel very comfortable in offense.
What are your thoughts on the structure of training camp and maybe the emphasis on recovery?
Oh man, it's a big difference. Like I said, I feel so fresh. Like right now, like it feel like we practiced 3 days because he take care of us. Like him and Ted, Kellen and Ted, they take care of us really well. And today was super hot, but they manage our workload. Like they look at our steps and how many steps we take. So I mean, they take care of us.
What do you think of competition in the running back room?
I love it. Like I said, we making each other better every day, and like I said, it's just a blessing to be out there grinding with them every day. And we got a loaded running back room right now, but like I said, it's just a grind out there. Everybody making each other better, and we just encouraging each other every day.
How much is having very experienced guys like Akers, like Clyde, being in there with you? Does that push you even more? You think?
Yeah, especially just for me, I'm in year 3, but I'm still. It's a lot to learn for me because just AK, Clyde, they got so much experience playing. So any little thing that I'm a little unsure of, I just ask them, and they are glad to help me. So it's just, like I said, a blessing to have them in the room, and I can lean on them.
Where you're at with your health and how you feel, do you feel like you're going to be able to show what you can actually do this year? Do you feel like you're best set up to kind of show yourself?
Yeah, most definitely. Especially this is the I feel normal now finally. This is the most healthy I've been ever since I've been in the NFL. It's just kind of been sped up process kind of since I've been here, so I never was 100% all the way. But like I said, I put in some work in the off season and got my body back right, and I feel great right now.
So you say that kind of goes back to the knee injury coming out of college, it just was never kind of a clear runway.
Yeah. It was never clear, just day one, and I've been through it all. It's just been kind of one thing and then another, just kind of kept going.
Are you leaner now than maybe you have been in the past?
Yeah, I definitely leaned up a lot, and that goes back to me being finally healthy. I definitely done dropped in body weight, and I feel great moving.
So what do you expect to play out this year?
Between 218 and probably 215, somewhere in there, which I've been at in the past, but like I said, I'm way more lean now.
Since you've had a full offseason,
that's 10 pound difference.
Key ways where you feel like you're playing the position better or know the position better than even December or January?
Really, honestly, it's just this play style, I understand it way more, and I really had time to just like break it down. And this is the first time I've just went through OTAs with the team, like fully, and then like starting out training camp or whatever. And so like just having the reps is one thing to do in the meeting room, but like to be able to do it on the field and then like do it in the meeting room, everything's like slowing down. So I feel great right now.
Yeah, how much are you looking forward to like on the pass and maybe trying to get a chance to separate yourself from the other guys?
Yeah, like I said, OTAs is kind of like more for like the quarterbacks and like even the beginning of training, like quarterbacks and receivers. So like when you put the pads on, that's really when you can see like who can do what. And like I said, injuries or not, like I've always been confident what I can do. So I'm not really worried about none of that. I'm just ready to get the way really.
Man, let me tell you something, man. Kendre Miller said he around 215. He said that's just 10 pound difference than what he usually going into season at 225. And the comments that he make about going into this thing healthy, the healthiest that he's felt in a long time. Man, listen, that's awesome because Alvin Kamara is going to be Alvin Kamara. The crazy part is, and I guess if I'm a running back on the New Orleans Saints and Alvin Kamara is my teammate, man, I would be like, hey, Alvin, can I, what do you know? Can I work with your trainer or can you, let me just, when you train, and he trained all the time. That's why he's in great shape. But if I'm Kendre Miller, I would just be picking Alvin Kamara's brain. Like, what I need to do this, that, and the third. And maybe he is. That's why he's totally healthy because it's his job to lose. Kellen Moore gave him a clean slate and he sound like Kendre sounds real enthused. And that's good, man, because we're going to really need him. This team, how the line, and you heard Ian Rappaport talk about it when we started the broadcast off about mentioning the Saints offensive line. See, that's where you start. They're looking at the quarterback position. And by all means, the quarterback position is very important, but, it doesn't mean anything if you don't have a line to protect the quarterback and allow lanes to be open for the running attack to take pressure off the QB caller, right? The QB, the signal caller, rather, right? You got to have a good line to protect where he can find his targets, and you got to be able to have a good line to be able to open up the running attack, to control the clock, wear out the defense, this type of stuff. And if the Saints want to resemble, we were middle of the pack last year in terms of running the football. I think it was 14th or something like that last year. And the Eagles was what, top 5 running the football? No, they were number 1 in it, something like that. I forget. But, if that guy had a 2,000 yard, wouldn't it ran like that for the season, then they had to be number 1 or up there. But if you want to be able to leapfrog and go 4 spots to get inside of the top 10, you're going to need these guys. You're going to need AK-41. You're going to need Kendre Miller. You're going to need Devin Neal. You're going to need Cam Akers, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And based on the vision or the innovation that Kellen Moore has, he has to understand that, hey, man, Alvin Kamara is not just a running back, right? And I said this before, he never has to leave the field. I mean, you can move him around on the field, create mismatches, and bring other people in and decoy Kamara and give Kendre Miller an opportunity to hammer up on that defense. As I told you, Kendre Miller, when healthy, he's a dynamo because one of his great gifts is he's very quick. He make these cuts without slowing down, right? He has the ability to make those flash cuts. And not only that, he has the ability to literally shake you out of your shoes. If you watch his film, even you go back when he was healthy running the ball for the Saints. I remember there was a game that we were playing late in the year when he was playing. And the other running backs just was not having success running because the Saints junky offensive line at that time, banged up backups was running in there and they couldn't push or open up any lanes. And Kendre Miller was gaining traction. Like, damn, it seemed like Kendre Miller had that. He had the glow. All it was Kendre Miller had the ability to make the initial tackler miss, and then he was able to climb to the second level. And he was doing that well. That's a really good trait for Kendre. So hand claps for Kendre Miller, man, if he's healthy, man, because that dude been through a lot. That's big if that guy's healthy. If that guy is healthy, man, do you not understand what that means for your team? That's your second running back right there. You can spell Elvin. You can move Elvin around, and Kendra Miller can catch the ball out the backfield. He can hit you with the stiff arm. He can run inside, outside. And he got a level where he can an extra, extra gear, where he could be able to get there and level up. Difficult running back, and like I said, depending on how Kellen Moore running these guys, man, it's gonna be exciting, man. All right, KT says Q. Elvin Kamara is 14 touchdowns away from 100. Do you think he gets it? 9 rushing, 5 receiving. Oh, I think, man, listen. This year, if you're Elvin Kamara, you got to be like, man, he got to be super excited. This year for him is with this line and knowing that the running attack is what they're going to be using to move the ball to get the play action going because you got inexperienced quarterbacks. You got to be like, man, hey, bro, I'm finally here. I can be able to do this, that, third. Y'all remember a large portion of Elvin Kamara's career, he was a combo guy. It was mixing him with Mark Ingram, right? You know, you might have had 1 year or so where he was featured like as the guy. But you remember they would combo Kamara with Ingram. I'm not saying they're going to do that with Kendra Miller, but this got to be a year where Elvin Kamara is like, man, this is going to be my best running year. I'm going to finally break 1,000 yards running. Hell, he might be able to put up 1,300 rushing yards. He could probably, if they can be healthy and do what they're supposed to do, man, he can have 1,200 rushing yards this year and 2 double-digit touchdowns. How? Because we watched Christian McCaffrey, which is a very similar running back to AK. I would say AK is better physically, even though Christian, no disrespect to him, he has the stats. You know, in terms of him getting 1,000 yards every year, him getting the accolades of doing this, that, and the third. But it's Elvin Kamara time this year. The Saints are going to be putting that ball in his hands. So I would have to give that a good yes, man. I think Elvin Kamara going to have his best year as a running back here coming up with Kellen Moore because the offense is going to be focused in getting him going. You know, you got to be able to take the pressure off the inexperienced play caller. We know running attack gets that. Shout out to Wayo, Who Dat Man. Shout out to you. Good to see you, brother. Much love. Asa. I hope he can play 17 games. That's what Asa says, man. Hey, we with you on that. All right. Gundam says Commanders, Big Q. He's saying that the Saints, could the Saints have a Washington Commander style year? Could that be the case? Could the Saints have a Washington Commander style year where they bounce or they go from a joke team to getting into the playoffs and gaining respectability again? That is very possible. Number one, the Saints got an agreeable schedule. Number two, the Saints going to be able to run the ball. Number three, the Saints defense, I believe, is going to be very solid. Number four, the special teams is going to be solid as well. We're going to have a few flubs in there. I'm not expecting us to win every game, but I'm telling you. And then, of course, 5, Kellen Moore comes with accountability. 6, he changed and has a leader guy on top of the health staff who know what he's doing, who's helped teams get to the promised land before. Do the Saints players do they have Kellen Moore's attention? Are they locked in on what Kellen's saying? And you got to be, because he just came from Philly when he won a championship as an offensive coordinator. He just came from there. So it's not hard for you to put 1 and 2 together. And the Saints are not a cratered, burnt out team. They have all these other great players here that just needed leadership. That's what I'm saying. They're like, Saints losing because they bad. No, the Saints losing because they injury. Half truth. The Saints were losing because they did not have a leader. They didn't have a leader at the head coach position, and they damn sure didn't have a leader at the quarterback position. 2 places where you need leaders to win. We didn't have it. And they were making all these stupid excuses that we always talked about. That's different here. That's why the energy is different. Right? All right, so let's finish out with this, man. And then what's up, B Jizzle? Shout out to my brother B Jizzle in this thing as well. Let me get this done, brother.
Several games last year after the injury. How much of a difference does he make when he's out there?
Like I said, he run the show. He the core of the O line, and you know he take pride in being in that. And there's definitely a big difference, like with him out there. I mean, Eric is just he's so smart. Like he knows exactly what's going on. And like I said, he with our rookie Kelvin, he definitely is like already helping him. Like he's just like he been doing it at a high level for a good minute. So I mean, it's just great having him out there.
And can he speak to the shifts of the O-line and the addition of Kelvin?
Yes. You said what?
He speaks to the shifts of the O-line.
Oh yeah. So like I said, Tally, he back on the right side, which is feel like he's more comfortable over there. But he had a great rookie year. Kelvin, you definitely see the athletic. Like, I mean, he went 9, so it's just like I feel like putting Trevor also at guard, that really is going to excel our O-line, and I feel like we're gonna have one of the best O-lines for sure, if not the best in the league. I'm speaking highly of them. I'm very confident of them.
Hey, listen, he ain't lying. You know, the question mark is Penning, but we seen Penning left tackle, right tackle, guard, inside has helped. But the thing is, Runduns is going to be the guy that's going to be competing with him for that position, right? And the whole thing about that is like we like the Saints offensive line. The weak point of the line is we have to get Penning's technique together. And based on what we've been seeing, we haven't heard too many things, but it's still early on. But like I said, it don't matter where you place a player with difficult or bad technique. If he's blocking too high, they're going to push him right into the lap of the quarterback and disrupt everything. So the pressure is on for Penning, to prove his worth at the guard position. And I like Penning. Penning has athleticism. He got a good temperament. He just has to work. We just got to get his technique down. Big old guy playing the guard. He's going to have to get down and stop blocking up so high because he's giving away all his leverage. So can the new offensive line coach get that together? So far, so good. Plus, he has the competition of the guard on him right there. So that's a positive. My issue or concern, and I finish up with this interview from Kendre Miller, and we would talk more about the depth of the offensive line, because even though they're talking about how good the front 5 guys could be, and this is all very well, the issue that we dealt with last year was the backups. When the backups came in, there was a noticeable and severe drop in talent. Like some of them guys couldn't even block, either run block or pass block. Half of them didn't know what the hell they was doing. They didn't know their playbooks. They didn't communicate well, and I put that on the coaches and I put that on the players because it's an equal shared thing. But it was a horrible, the depth was horribly, a terrible low in terms of talent level right there. And most of the times when you have these backups, and we'll talk more about it, but how comfortable are you guys with some of these backups, Barry Wesley and Josh Ball as backup tackles if something were to happen, God forbid? We're going to talk more about that. Let's finish up.
Changing numbers, 25 to 5. Why did you do that? Does 5 have any significance?
It really doesn't. It was just kind of like, I was injured at 25, and it was just like I just want to start something new. Like I'm like, I feel good finally. Kind of just want to leave that old mojo in the past and just kind of move on.
You spoke after the New York Giants game last year about how happy you were in that game. How much did that kind of carry you through what I imagine was a pretty frustrating injury going back on the reserve and all of a sudden? How much did that experience kind of keep you hungry throughout all the rest of the offseason?
Yeah, because I mean, I didn't go through training camp, and then I was on IR like the whole year. So, after the Giants game, it's just like I can still play football. It's just like you kind of just going through treatment every day and like rehab, and I'm here to play football. So just to get back out there and see what I can still I can still do. And so it's like it's just encouraging. So it's like, I mean, just a reminder, like to me in my head, like I mean, I'm still who I was. I mean, it's just like
salute, my brother.
Just got to go through stuff.
Do you consider that kind of I don't want to call it a turning point, but just sort of like a chance to prove something?
Yeah, most good. Yeah.
All right, that was Mr. Kendre Miller, man. Kind of talking about it. He was a guy that got a lot of issues, man. And the reason why I wanted to be able to get Kendre, when he popped up on the interview section, I wanted to be able to hear from him because, man, y'all remember Kendre Miller was getting lit up and talked very nastily by the last coach that was here, even did rotten stuff like put him on the injury list, and he wasn't even hurt. Wasn't even hurt. Put him on the injury list. But Kendre is a guy that we always liked. We thought he had talent. He just needed to be healthy. Kind of strange why we don't see Nick Saldiveri get the same scrutiny. Why doesn't Nick Saldiveri get the same scrutiny? Kendre Miller, as banged up as what he was in his NFL career, right? Still, he played more time than Saldiveri. He played more time than Nick Saldiveri. Shouldn't it be Nick Saldiveri battling Trevor Penning for the job? The mere fact that Kellen Moore brung in Dylan Redunce, who comes over from the Titans, who played guard there and been in the league and in the prime of his career, what does that say about Nick Saldiveri? And could we have the same consistent energy that they have for Kendre Miller for Nick Saldiveri? Huh? Why he gets to peacefully make it, but Kendre don't? Very interesting. All right, KT says, Q, I believe that Spencer Rattler reached out to his old college teammate Jalen Hurts about Kellen Moore offensive. I would not doubt that, brother. I would not doubt that at all, because that seems something. What's up, B Frank? Shout out to B Frank on IG. It to me, that makes a lot of sense, because that would be a smart thing that Spencer Rattler would do. He pick his brain like, hey man, could you give me some insight on Kellen? He must be he doing something. The man doing something, because he running it right now. Now, of course, he has some interceptions. We know, he made some plays, but he's still ahead right now. And like I said, it is incredibly difficult to expect Tyler Shuck, who never done this, never played an NFL game, to step right in and be the guy that has that kind of experience, and he's a heady player that takes it serious. Is mild mannered and measured. You listen to Spencer Rattler's interviews, it's almost like you listening to a guy been in the league for 6-7 years. You're impressed by his skill. Like, even though below the layers here that he's breaming with, like, man, I'm gonna show y'all, but he don't show that. It's all calm, cool, and collected, and then they get out there on the football field and say, listen, I'm gonna do this. And then the thing is, the dude's a really fast learner, right? He studied the film. He in there early. They say one of the first to get in there, one of the last ones to come up out the building. That's a sign of greatness. That means you're serious about what you do. And if you are serious about being an NFL quarterback, and ain't that many of them, you have an opportunity. You got your top competition is a guy they just drafted, who played who had one strong year the man had last year fighting injuries. Never done it before. It is incredibly difficult for guys to come right on in and just fire away and just be on that. Not saying it hasn't been done before, but it don't happen often. We seen when Peyton Manning got in there, one of the really great ones got in there. Peyton Manning with 1-15 his first year, and his team wasn't all that. But at the same time, he was throwing interceptions left and right, baby. He was throwing interceptions left and right. So what I'm saying is, regardless of how great you are in college, you have to get used to the speed of the game. And even though Spence only played in 7 games, started 6, he still has that as an advantage over Shuck. So it's not that far to, if you rationalize, it's not a really big surprise that's going on. But eventually, over time, Shuck will close the gap as he gets used to playing in the NFL. So very good, KT. I don't doubt that at all, my brother. All right. Hemisphere says, Q, one word for Rattler: consistency. 2 picks in camp so far. He looks good one day and doesn't look well the next. Well, that's a part of the learning process, right? The guy, Stutzman, got him, right? Stutzman reached out there and got him on one. But that's a part of the game. Like I said, he's still inexperienced. All of these guys are. It's just levels to their inexperiencedness. But I still think Rattler's headed in the right direction. Don't you, Hemisphere? Shout out to Hemisphere. Brother Thomas, shout out. He says, new beginnings. Yes, indeed, man. Don't you feel it? All right, brother. Shout out to brother Omar, man. Chiming in from Panther Nation, man. Much love. Appreciate you, brother, for the support. Much love to the outside fam, man. They're here giving some love. All right. Yeah, it's going to be interesting this year, man. It's going to be a cool time, man, for these players, man. I already said thanks. Stutzman might take DeMario's spot at the middle linebacker. New coaches on the defensive side of the ball. I'm sure there will be a lot of household names gone before it's all said and done. Indeed. Well, we've seen Tyrann Mathieu call it quits. We know Demario Davis and Cam Jordan have 1 year left on their deal. Foster Monroe, Taysom Hill, all these men have 1 year agreements left. This is their final year on contract. And for many of these positions, there are younger players that have high draft status that are waiting for an opportunity to step in. So Demario Davis, as great as he's been, eventually it all ends, right? And you got to remember too that we can't, say, okay, well, Demario keep him off him. They're running a 34 defense, fam. A lot of times the 34 defense linebackers is based on speed. You know what I'm saying? Does Demario Davis have enough of that left to be able to do that? Well, you playing that 43 is difference. The 34 defense is supposed to be the strength of the 34 is the linebackers. The linebackers have to move. They got to move around and they got to cover terrain and territory. They got to get ready to blitz or drop into coverage. We've seen over the years, and it's just what it is. Even though Demario's incredibly productive, it's just the fact that, Father Time catches up to us all. As great as he is and as timeless as he is, his lateral movement is just simply not there anymore. His lateral movement ain't what it used to be. But I ain't never seen Demario miss so many tackles than what I've seen over the last couple of years. Usually when he put his hands on you, going down, baby, you about to get dragged down. But over the last couple of years, I've been seeing he been getting it ain't been looking good. But see, that's just what it is. That's just how it goes from a time standpoint. That's why you get younger, faster linebackers in there to deal with that. So Demario's had an illustrious career with the Saints, and I consider Demario Davis in terms of my linebackers, which is we got several fantastic linebackers. But Ricky Jackson, to me, now you got Cam. Cam took Ricky's sack record. We know that Cam is no doubt about it. Even though he doesn't have a Super Bowl ring, Cam Jordan is probably gonna go down as the greatest Saint outside of Drew Brees there ever was. Now, Ricky Jackson and Drew Brees are up there, in the Mount Rushmores of it. You got to put Ricky Jackson, Drew Brees, Willie Roaf, guys like that. These are exceptional guys. These are first ballot Hall of Famers. Ricky Jackson's in the Hall, Drew's in the Hall, Willie Roaf's in the Hall. So those guys are first ballot Hall of Famers right there. So Cam Jordan, eventually, I believe he's going to get up there too. But in terms of linebackers, the greatest linebackers, Demario's up there. I think Demario's better than Vaughn Johnson. If you go up into the top linebackers of it, Ricky, you look at guys like Sam Mills, Pat Swilling. I think Demario's up there. You also got to mention our guy Jonathan Vilma. He's a guy, but Demario Davis, in my estimation, man, is, if you talk about linebackers for the New Orleans Saints, he's in my top three. He's in my top three. And y'all can put in the chat where y'all think he belongs in y'all echelon in terms of linebackers. Where does Demario Davis fall in your linebacker ranking? Is he behind Ricky Jackson and Sam Mills? And Pat Swilling, where does he fall versus Pat Swilling? Remember, Pat Swilling was a hell of a guy too in playing after. Where does Demario rank among your grade? And that's some of the best ones there. That's a tough one. As Mickey would say, why? That's a toughie. God damn it, that's a toughie. All right. We'll see, man. But remember, the strength of the 34 is the linebackers. The linebackers got to be able to move, bro. All right, KT says Q Rico Payton is coming for somebody's job. I'm just saying Rico Payton's a solid young undrafted cornerback. And he could be very well the reason why they're not looking at another cornerback right now. because they could be looking at Ashantae Samuel, a junior, but he's been dealing with injuries, and perhaps there are other cornerbacks the Saints could have brought in, but they looking at these other guys and saying, man, let's get our young guys a chance, because they could have brought in a wide receiver. We've been pushing for that. They could have brought in another veteran cornerback. We've been pushing for that. But they're looking at the same thing with these. They're doing the same thing we see with these backup offensive linemen. They're not bringing in any other guys. They're saying, hey, man, let me see what these other offensive lineman guys got. But do they have enough that where we don't have to bring in any more veterans in here or whatever? So that's the question there. All right. Thank you, brother. We're going to talk about that old line, backup line in a second. What's up, Rosin 2012 says Q, head coach cannot feel intimidated regarding his players. DA move like, yes, indeed, because DA wasn't no leader. He wasn't no leader. He was non-confrontational. When that man from the Falcons got all up in his face and cussed at him, walked up there and accused him of something right there, that boy folded up like a long chair, was putting his hands on the man's chest and all that. And I'm saying, where they do that at? Where they do that at? This man literally walking up to you cussing. Like you did something wrong. Like you wasn't supposed to run that damn place. You goddamn shame. Hey, guess what, buddy? Hey, that's a handshake agreement. But guess what? They didn't throw a flag for that. It's not illegal. It's just an unwritten rule between the team to do it. But if you get snuck with it, that's on you. If you fall asleep at the switch, you should be telling the people, hey, man, be prepared for a fake play. They might be trying to kneel this thing down, but just be watching out for that. That's what you know what I'm saying? He was just mad because he knew it was the last straw when that got his ass fired. That Arthur Smith character. I think wasn't his name Smith or whatever it is. He don't matter. But the bottom line was nobody respected that. Then he proceeded to go to the press conference and throw his team under the bus. Even some of these offensive linemen would say we expected him to get fired and Mickey Loomis walk up in there and backs up Dennis Allen, because Mickey Loomis is an idiot. And don't y'all dare give Mickey Loomis no credit for Kellen, for this whole Kellen thing. If it wasn't for the Who Dat Nation forcing Loomis to kick that guy out of here, you would still have that guy here. And his damn quarterback. When you kicked him out, the quarterback went too, because he couldn't survive without Dennis Allen protecting him. That's truth. Whatever rules or whatever thing you won't kick up and say all this other kind of stuff, he could not survive in the sunshine without Dennis Allen in the shade. That's their reality. All right. Anyway, let's keep it moving, man. New beginnings, fam. New beginnings. Rosin says Q Penning will be great. Okay, brother. I'm with you on that, bro. I think we got new offensive people to help out there. I'm with you. Scoop says interceptions are a fluke status. There are many factors that Scoop, Professor Scoob on the scoop. All right. That King Chosen One says I wouldn't have thrown the set. That's where he messed up at. I ain't lying, bro.
He ain't lying.
I was thinking about that, man. When he said that, man, I was like, who he was throwing through? Who he's trying to throw to?
Talk, boy.
That's what I was saying. I was like, that's where you messed up at. That's where you effed up there, right there. That's where you was trying to throw the who. Okay, there it is. See, I was thinking it as I was reading it. But see, bro, y'all, the great minds think alike. All right, what's up, Black Major? Shout out to you, man. Appreciate you, brother. KT says, Q, we need to start a campaign for the blackout uniform combination, the Darth Vader uniform. Yeah, KT, you right, brother. Fam, listen, KT, he talked about this on the last stream. He talked about the Saints black helmet. Remember the black helmet? And then having Saints black helmet, black jersey pants, black jerseys, just an all black look, black socks, black shoes, everything. Just the Darth Vader look, the Saints Darth Vader look, right? The blackouts, just have something like that. And they, you know what? They should have something like that. Come to think of it. What's up, brother? Jay Broussard. Shout out to Jay Broussard on IG. Much love, brother. Yeah, but this is the thing, man. I would figure that they would have already have that, like they have the pure white uniforms. They got the white helmet. They're gonna be wearing the white shirt, jersey, white pants. They're gonna be all white, all clean. Let's just go to Darth Vader look, black helmet, black, everything. And I would love to see that, man. I would have thought that they would have already had something like that laid out, man. To be honest with you, I ain't gonna lie. All right. The chosen one says Double D still one of the best in the league at that. Don't question. Now you got to question his speed, bro. I watched the tape, man. He good at certain things, but his lateral speed ain't there no more. That's why when if you watch the tape, you see him in the pursuit situation. That ain't used to be the case. He used to cover sideline to sideline like nobody else. A lot of that's not there no more. It's just what it is. Liking him doesn't mean that you have to blur up the fact that he don't cover as well as he is, because he getting old. He 36 years old. As you get up there, you lose some of that athletic ability. That is just what happens. It don't disparage him. It doesn't make him look any better. It just means that he's human. Shit, it happens, right? All right, OG says there's no offense sign. No, he hasn't. And I think shout out to Cat Terrell said that that they had on the transaction wire that he did, if I'm not mistaken, that he left the city without a contract, that he met with the Saints. And that's what I've heard, rumored up. So we'll see how it all, if it's all true or not. But I want to say it was Cat that put that out there. I'm going to have to look it up and make sure. But I think it was Cat that made mention of it. It was either Cat Terrell or one of our other lady reporters that made reference to the fact that he met with the Saints and that nothing became of it yet. So maybe he got somewhere else he's gone. We'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. But I do think that would be a good thing for them to have. Noah Fant would be a great pickup. KT says, no, my dog says it's real, no shade, but they need to think like Tyron if they can go through an entire season. Move aside. Sam Mills was the greatest middle linebacker ever. Q. All right. Yeah, I ain't getting. I don't put him above Sam Mills, but he in my top three. Mont says, "What? Q? Come on, Cam ain't bigger than Ricky Jackson. Stop, LOL. I'm saying, bro, listen. Cam is did he took Ricky's rookie, what is his sack record down? That was big. Nobody never done that. Cam did that. That's huge. Now I'm not disparaging Ricky Jackson or saying Ricky Jackson ain't great. I just put the Mount Rushmore as Ricky Jackson, Drew Brees, Willie Roaf, and then you could throw another guy in there. It's going to be high, but it's who you putting up there. And the Saints Mount Rushmores up there if it ain't Cam Jordan in the top four. The top four greatest Saints there ever was. What's yours? Just saying, brother. Great is great, right? All right. Chosen one says, we will be okay there. Young players will learn from Double D. Pete Stutzman need to stay healthy, going 110%. All right, brother. We good on that. All right. What's up, Brian? Brian says Sam Mills. Okay. All right. He says didn't get to see all the guys you've gotten to see, but Jonathan Vilma and Double D are the best in my lifetime. Okay, brother. All right. Yeah, but look them up, though. If you hadn't seen them, they got plenty of footage on them, the chosen one, for you to look them guys up, man. Sam Mills, Ricky Jackson, Pat Swill, they got tons of footage that you can research them in. Them guys were excellent at what they do. They were phenomenal, and then they were a team. Them guys played really good. Even the great Mike Singletary, who championed that vicious Bears defense that kicked everybody's tail that year in '85, led by Ditka, won the championship. With McMahon at the quarterback position, he said that the Saints had the greatest defense of all time. He said if they had a quarterback, they would have won many Super Bowls. That's what he said on NFL Films. Singletary said that about the Saints, and that's a compliment, man, because Mike Singletary was one of the hellfire linebackers. He reminded me a lot of Sam Mills. Mike Singletary and Sam Mills, man, they leadership and the style of how they played the position. Them two dudes were very similar, man. They could have been brothers, man, how they played. Hemisphere, I don't know, Q. The Dome Patrol was a 34. We only seen DeMario play 4-3. He said there's a big difference. We shall see. I'm seeing a lot of picks was picked with specific vision. Okay, thank you, brother, for your comment. All right. Yeah. All right, Black Major. Yeah. I see you. All right. So yeah, y'all brothers and the ladies in the chat, they all kind of there. But yeah, that's interesting. When you talk about the Mount Rushmores of the greatest Even talk about the greatest players. Shit. Man, Ricky Jackson, and this is greatness. Ricky Jackson, Drew Brees, Willie Roaf, dude, greatness, 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 greatness. All right, Darwin says DeMarco is like the fifth or sixth best linebacker behind Pat, Ricky, Vaughn, Sam, and Jonathan Vilma. Oh, y'all putting it behind Vilma. Okay, all right, that's interesting. I think Double D. I think Demario Davis, to me, is no disrespect to Jonathan Vilma, but I think, in my opinion, I think he's a little higher in my linebacker ranking. Right? You know, if you won't split them up like KT did, he talked about outside, inside. I was just grouping them to make it simpler. But if you want to talk about the greatest inside linebackers that ever was, then man, Sam Mills is number one. Obviously, I have to go Demario Davis and Jonathan Vilma. And I know what it means to have Jonathan Vilma and what he did with the Saints defense, but I'm kind of looking at all of the body of work outside of the trophy and all that kind of stuff. But that's just how I see him. I put him up there high. I think Demario Davis is going to go out as one of the best, man. Don says Loomis still had to choose the right guy in Kellen. He could have kept Rizzi or got McCarthy. McCarthy stepped out of it. Rizzi wasn't qualified to do it. And he focused on Kellen Moore. Yes, he did. He did see Kellen Moore, but you wouldn't have had none of that if it wasn't for you. How are you taking you out of it? You had something to do with that. If it wasn't for the people, remember, he was fired by the people. He was forced. Mickey Loomis did not want to have nothing to do with firing that man. He begged Gail to keep that guy. See, don't let them romanticize the history. All I'm saying is I'm telling you how it happened. You would, if it wasn't for that, you would still have that guy here. He had another year left on his contract. He's trying to keep him. It would have been some bullshit too. But in the end, I'm glad it's done. But yeah, I guess to a degree, you got to give him credit for at least sticking with Kellen Moore, you know. But the other guys wasn't available; they stepped out of it, and he did step out. I guess you can give him. You know what? Who said that? What's the brother name? I'm gonna give you some love on that, brother Don. You're right, sir. I'm gonna give him a little credit on that, man, for at least sticking with Kellen Moore. There you go, brother. Because once Kellen Moore hired Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore brought in his own guys, and it was basically, and Mickey Loomis can go somewhere and eat clam chowder all goddamn day. You know, just stay out of the way. All right, KT says, I look for Brzee breakout in the 34, JJ Watt, Bruce Smith role. Yeah, I didn't doubt it, bro. Vernon Brockton and guys like that. I'm interested to see how they're gonna roll all these guys out here, to be honest with you. We're gonna see. All right. Yeah, KT still arguing. He's saying Ricky Jackson was in the same draft class as Lawrence Taylor. That's right. This is the only reason he doesn't get the accolades that he deserved. But that's bro, you know how astronomically awesome Lawrence Taylor was? How great Lawrence Taylor was? Lawrence Taylor was damn near unblockable. But you're right. Ricky Jack, and of course, Lawrence Taylor played in the largest football market in the country, in New York. So all the cameras was on him. The Saints, small market team that didn't have all the success that they were supposed to have. So him up there, him doing what he do, that guy was. That's like Reggie White and Lawrence. You group them type of guys together, like Reggie White, Lawrence Taylor, Ricky Jack. Them guys were phenomenal. It's like they were born to do that. Them guys were phenomenal, excellent people. I mean, players. And they were hard to stop. Ricky Jackson was a hellspawn, and man, Lawrence Taylor was just ridiculous. How great those dudes was. Our younger family members, if y'all don't know those guys, you probably heard of them from your father or whatever. But go back, if you're not familiar, go back and look up some of that film and see how them guys were freaking unstoppable, man. Youngbloods for SSQ. Kendra was interviewed today. Yeah, we just played that, bro. He mentioned how AK and Clyde have helped during OTAs and started training camp. He really seemed focused. We played it not too long ago, brother. So appreciate you reminding us, man. on that. Hemisphere says, can you imagine what the Saints can do with the offense like the 49ers had with Joe Montana and Jerry Rice? Yes, indeed. Yeah, but the thing also, they had a lot of the talent. But the great thing about the Saints is, outside of this, is the fact that the Saints have the talent. We had talent last year, but it's having a plan to know what to do with it. And plus, the accountable thing is, like when you're a head coach, you come here, you have to establish what the team's identity is, right? We have to figure out what we're going to do, what we're going to be. But coming into this thing, you got to say the Saints is going to be a ground and pound team, no doubt about it, because, you got inexperienced QB there. So you got to be a ground and pound team. That's how you're going to move the ball. You put the ball behind, you build your offensive line up, you put the ball in the hands of your best player and Elvin Kamara and say, AK-41, go make it happen, baby. And that's how you move it. You got Kendra healthy. You got Cam Akers here. You got Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Yes, he says it's a jam group. You're right. But and Devin Neal, let me not forget him. But you got really good people here that is, we got talent here. And if you can, Kellen Moore, which I more than think that he can do this, find a role for him, because like KT mentioned, Bub Memes in the AJ Brown role that he talking about. So he try to do is see if he can find players to fit what he has and build that identity. It's going to be a ground and pound team, but you establish that identity as the Saints. That kind of goes back to our history though, doesn't it, fam? Because the Saints were always a good running team. Like when we were winning games, we had a fierce running attack. I remember just going back prior to Coach Payton, when you had Jim Mora there, they had guys like Dalton Hilliard and Craig Hayward, where the Saints would put the ball in these men's hands. They had these fierce offensive linemen like Jim Dombrowski and all these other guys, and then they just would maul out and push people out of the way. And they would gain ground that way, and the defense would get after you, force turnovers. The Saints had a fire special teams play. Remember, we had solid punters. What was it, Tommy Barnhart and all these other guys that was punting the ball back there? You had Martin Anderson as a kicker. So the Saints were built to be a fierce defense, great special teams, and they will run the ball, right? They will run the football. And that was what we did. So we kind of, to a degree, fam, we kind of look like we kind of going back to our roots right there, right? Even when you look in the Coach Payton era, Coach Payton knew the importance of the running attack, even though he would get bored and start doing stupid stuff. Stuff like instead of just running for the 1 yard, he'll just do a reverse. He used to try to be crazy. I'm like, what are you doing? Why? Well, because he get bored and he just, let me call this play to see if it works. Y'all remember that? Put one in the chat. Y'all remember that from Coach Payton years. He needed 1 yard and Coach Payton running a reverse to pick up one. Like, what? What are you doing? But even he realized the importance of the running attack. Remember, there was a string of games where the Saints needed to, if they got, what was it, fam, over, 25 carries a game or 26 carries, whatever it was, 27. Y'all put it in the chat. What amount of carries the Saints needed to have per game to guarantee that they won the game? They had like some ridiculous win total when the Saints had a certain amount of carries, like it was 30 carries or whatever it was. When you reach this measurement of carries for the Saints, you were most certainly going to win the football game. And that's what they did. And they were dominant doing that. So to me, it kind of beckons to us going back, to the 34 look with Staley. And Staley know how to run that defense. We have the guys that can actually operate that defense, right? And then we have the running attack. We got a good room. We got that built up the offensive line. And now to just talk about the backups. That's the question mark I have going forward in terms of, is it enough? And should we be looking at improving this? What do you guys think? Y'all tell me, what do y'all think about the Saints backups? Yeah, Ruben Mays. That's right, Brian. Shout out to Brian. Yeah, that's true. Ruben Mays. And we kind of back into those days back in the day when the Saints used to put the ball in the hands of the running attack. Man, we had that. We had it going on. All right, man. So younger slick Mickey in the building. Mickey says the Mount Rushmores of general managers is Mickey Loomis, and Mickey Loomis. All right.
Stop the cap.
Thank you, Mickey. All right, appreciate you, Mickey, for dropping some game on us about that, man. All right, thanks, Mickey. Oh man, okay, Mickey. Okay, man, you got it, brother. You got it. I'm gonna give you that, bro. You got it. All right. My dog says, who y'all got, Shockey or Graham for the best Saints tight end? I go with Graham, bro. I got to go with Graham. I like Shockey, but I think Graham had more of an impact as the greatest Saint tight end there ever was. And I like Jeremy Shockey a lot when he came over from the Giants. But I got to go with Graham on that one, brother. Good question, though. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Yeah. That 30 plus. What is it, fam? How many? KT said, remember the Buffalo game they ran 30 plus times. It was a stat, man, that where you would get. Oh, is it 27? KT says 27. The Saints would, if they got 27 over 27 or more carries, they had some ridiculous record, like it was like 20 plus wins versus like one loss or something like that. When the Saints rush and get 27 carries or more a game, they got this ridiculous high ranking record. All they had to do was run the ball and get to 27. So they understood the importance, and a lot of that was put together by Coach Payton. He was the one that ran the hell out of the ball and drafted the offensive line to keep his running intact so he can do what he got to do. Yeah. All right. Shout out to Mickey Loomis, man, for being in the building. That's a younger looking Mickey Loomis, man. That's a lot younger looking Mickey than what we seen. Old slick Mickey Loomis. All right. Hurricane Mike says Graham, but Shockey was underrated. Yeah, he was. I like Jeremy Shockey, man. Yeah, I liked his ferocity, man, what he brought to the team. I liked his side. They don't even talk about Shockey anymore in terms of some of the great tight ends. Some of them he gets kind of pushed over or forgotten about, man. Mont says Shockey caught a TD in the Super Bowl, helped us win the chip. Graham was a wide receiver playing tight end, and he was soft. Man wasn't soft, bro. Man he was good. Come on, man, dog. Shockey might have caught a touchdown in the Super Bowl to help you win. That's true. But we're talking about over time. Shockey was with the Saints, a couple years versus Graham was for a long time. And if you put the stats together, I think Graham beats him. But, that's your opinion, bro. All right, YO says, Mickey Loomis better pray Gail Benson doesn't sell the team. All right, well, Gail don't have any suitors. Any children. And y'all remember a couple of years ago, she signed an agreement with the NFL. Like it's basically a will structure. Like if something happens to her, what happens with the team? And there's this whole little thing set up where the team is attached to the Superdome and all this kind of stuff. And to be honest with you, the Saints and the Pelicans have a gravy train. That's why Gail got really serious on the Pelican side to hire Joe Dumas to come in and turn the team around. She'd have done really great if she just let him get rid of Willie Green, but she wants Willie to stay for another year. But outside of that, they're headed in the right direction because she wants a brand new stadium. She wants a new stadium. And in order for them to get that so they can bank out and go higher, they got to win because there's too much resistance on this end in terms of them not winning enough games. I don't see how you're going to get that without it. What's up, brother Lester? Who that to you, brother? Good to see you. All right. Chosen One says, yes, Jimmy Graham. Yeah, I agree, bro. It is definitely Jimmy Graham. Ryzen says Q Shockey gave his all. He did, bro. He did. But I'm saying body of work, not just body of work altogether, years and dealing with this team, not what we'll be seeing with him do with the Giants. Because he did help the Giants get there. And I think he got hurt, that year. He got hurt that year and couldn't play. They won a championship, and then the next year he came to New Orleans and they gave him the ring from that championship. And he sold that ring. Did y'all know that? A little Jeremy Shockley story. He actually sold that ring. The Super Bowl ring he got from the Giants that, I think it was the next year after that they won the championship when he was hurt. He helped them and then he got hurt. And then the next year he left and he signed with the Saints. I won't say how it played out. And I remember him selling that ring. That ring had zero value to him, but he did help the Saints win a championship. That is true. All right. Yeah. He says you got to get better at you just got to win, bro. That's all you got to do. They're on the right path, just like the Saints are. They're on the right path. They got the right leadership in place now. They got accountability, innovation. They got somebody exciting to talk football with. And it's just an energy. Like you got this, it's a fresh, vibrant energy. Plus the fact the guy coming off a championship, I keep saying that. And the fact that he has the players, he knows he has the player. Before he took this job, remember, he took a long time to decide on whether or not he wanted to come here because he was taking time to do research on the team. What if I'm coming there, what do I need to work with? What do I need to do? And remember, early on, there was discussions about what he wanted to do because Derek Carr wasn't his quarterback. And we knew that because that came out that it was an issue there. So we're not going to forget like they smooshed it over and all that kind of stuff. If I draft a quarterback with a second round pick, that puts pressure on the guy that's there with the money to perform. Guy couldn't do it. So he has his guy and Spencer's there. And in time, based how fast Tyler is in picking up what he needs to pick up, we'll see how it all works. But it's all within his realm of control. He knew all he had to do is beef up that offensive line. He had Elvin Kamara, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed. You bring a few people here or there. The defense, you've seen what Kellen Moore and Coach Staley did with the defense when they switched from the 43 to a 34 defense. They signed a bunch of players up until recently with Bullard. They signed a bunch of players. They're not playing. They're not taking any. They're not risking or not messing around, period, with stopping the run. They're not playing any games. The Saints have to stop the run this year. They can't afford to sit up there and let people run on them like we did last year. They have to stop the run. And that man, they taking that really, really serious, right? KT says that Q worst free agent signing, Carr to Bucky Jones. Oh my God. I remember the Carr to Bucky Jones, Browner, Jason David, or Jabbar, what's his name? Jabari, what's his name? Not Jabari, Jarius Bird. That's Derek Carr, bro. And it's simply Derek Carr because of the money. All these other guys, like, Jarius Bird just didn't get it. He had a few decent things here or there. Browner was a bad one for the Saints. Jason David made interceptions, but that was a curious signing because he was like 5'7". Why would you sign that guy? That was just a curious one as well. Bucky Jones was long gone. He wasn't to Bucky Jones. He was to Sucky Jones. He wasn't no good, man. He just didn't have the same energy. He just didn't have, he wasn't the same player. The system was different. It wasn't the same. But worst free agent, and I've said this before, it's definitely Derek Carr. You got to put the money on that. That's the money eclipses all those other guys. And plus is at the most important position on your team. Right? These other guys are defensive backs. All these guys the Saints made bad moves on. Even Marcus May, you could throw, that was another terrible contract. The Bucky Jones, Browner, Jason David, and Bird, all those guys are defensive backs. Even Marcus May, if you want to throw him in there. Defensive backs, but the quarterback position is the big position. I would have to vote. If you asked me to vote on that, it would definitely be the Carr acquisition. That was horrible. But it was cool because we were able to slide from up out of it, get some of that money back there, and that makes the future look bright going forward. So it worked out. We had to suffer for it a little bit, but it worked out. Yeah, 017 said they better stop the run. Yes, indeed. I agree. All right. Yeah, y'all hit the like button, man. Y'all in here chilling, man. We got a bunch of folks in here. Y'all do me a service and hit the like button, man, and the share button if you're not in sub up Tacoma. We in this thing. Also, a little bit to talk about, man. Eli Apple signs with the Miami Dolphins. I got an alert. Eli Apple, Sour Apple, signed with the Miami Dolphins. So good luck to that brother out there. All right, Scoop says, how about James Laurinaitis? No. Yeah, nah, bro. He ain't even in my top 3 in terms of worst signings ever. I mean, he had no impact because he couldn't stay healthy. He had no impact at all. James Laurinaitis. He came over from the Rams. We thought he was going to be something, man. That guy could not stay healthy, man. His body was just so broken down, man. Poor guy couldn't stay on board. Yeah. New Orleans says got to be Eli Apple. That man was trash. Eli Apple, even if you put Eli Apple in, I don't think he was worse than Browner or any of the other. He's talking about the best of the worst. That's kind of a crazy argument to have. Mont says, when I seen Jason David in person, I towered over him. He was like 5'9"ish. Yeah, he was small dude. Barefoot 5'10" with sneakers. I knew something wasn't right. Yeah, I don't understand why the Saints signed that man. And he was supposed to be guarding these 6'3" wide receivers. I'm like, who they think this dude is? Spud Webb or something? He can jump 5 feet in the air and knock. I just didn't understand what they were doing with that, man. I I didn't understand what was the crazy Saints back in the day. All right, King Eternal says, didn't Ricky Williams leave to get high on Island? He did leave to get high on Island. It was, what's up, Desi? There was a bad, it was just that whole Dicker thing. That's a whole nother subject, man. And him, that fool thought that all he needed was Ricky Williams. And I'm like, no, he didn't even have to do that. He had Edgerrin James in that draft. If they wouldn't have gotten Ricky Williams, they would have kept all those picks and had Edgerrin James as a running back. Imagine that, the fortunes of the Saints, man, how different things would have been if we wouldn't have gave up all that stuff for one player and you had Edgerrin James sitting there. He had a better career than Ricky Williams did with the Colts. Black Preacher Man says, salute Q. Shout out to you, my brother. Appreciate you. What about the worst draft picks? Oh, my God, please, no. I don't know, brother. I don't know. We had some bad ones, man. Some pretty bad ones. Marcus Davenport's got to be up there. You know, Kenny Vaccaro's got to be, even though Kenny Vaccaro played, he has some decent years playing, but he's like in the top 10 in terms of what he could have been. You know, drafted, what about Wesley Carroll, Alex Molden? It was a bunch. What's the guy play? Was the running back, man? Vaughn Dunbar. We can go back on that, bro. Some of the worst Saints draft picks ever, man. Sheesh. There's a bunch of them that we could talk about right there, man. I just threw a bunch of them at you just right quick. You know, just straight off the dome, being a member of the Great Saint Think Tank. And we Saint historians, we had to go back, man. I remember some of them guys. Katie says, Q, tell Slick Mickey that Reverend Saint is looking for. He jumped in line at the Rosses. That's why he stopped going, KT. Remember, he told you he don't go there no more. He just gets his stuff ordered through the mailing service now. So he get his stuff door dashed or Walmart bring it to him. Last time you kicked that man basket over and all his clams ended up on the floor. He stopped going to that damn stuff. Yeah, he said he ordered it through Walmart now, bro. He don't even go down that no more. Yeah, see. All right, Jack says any player that puts on a wedding. Oh, yeah. I remember that. That wasn't the worst part. That wasn't the worst part. Is that he had the wedding dress on, and then Mike Dicker standing up next to him with a tux. I'm like, what? And then when he drafted him, didn't Mike Dicker went and got a Rasta wig and put his head on? I know DC was highly offended at that. When Mike Dicker got up there and put that Rasta wig on next to Ricky Williams, and Ricky Williams' face looked kind of strange there. DC was highly pissed at that one. How dare you do that? All right, YO says Danny Waffle. Yeah, he was a 4th round selection. He was a runner-up. Didn't know Waffle won the Heisman that year. The Saints took him in the 4th round. I remember that. CJ Spiller. Oh, yeah, that just didn't work out. He was a free agent signing them. Yeah, Desi says she liked Kenny Vaccaro. Yeah. All right. Yeah. And Youngblood says, Q, I know it's early, but it looks like Saints linebacker Colby, Demario Davis, Pete Warner, Nephi Sewell, and Ricky Stutzman. All right. Well, I mean, you might have something there, my brother. I mean, we still got a little going in there, but yeah, if you look at it, man, let me see if I can get it down to the linebackers. But yeah, it's you got 4 of them. So you're going to have some depth behind them. We know the 4, Granderson, Davis, Werner, Young, and then you have Stutzman, Nephi Sewell, people like him. I don't understand why we got rid of Anthony Orji. I don't understand why we did that. We should have got rid of DeMarco Jackson, because Anthony Orji, in my opinion, was probably one of the most solid up and coming linebackers that we really liked a lot. I think Anthony Orji was solid, man. He played well on special teams when he got an opportunity to get in there and play. He was in there doing his thing. I thought his speed because he used to be a safety, a big safety that come out of Vanderbilt. He was smart. He had the brains. He knew how to tackle. He had closing speed. He was made perfectly for that 34 look. He didn't make it. Saints put him in the win. And I was like, why did they do that for DeMarco Jackson? Because of the draft status? Because Anthony was undrafted. Like, man, that to me, that was a very curious decision, because I would have put DeMarco Jackson in the street. He ain't showed me nothing. DeMarco made a few tackles, but his issue is coverage. He hadn't shown you he was a solid coverage linebacker. Like, he can go and make a tackle, stick his nose in there, but can he drop into coverage and cover tight ends? He hadn't showed me that. And you got to have that ability as well. So, but anyway, guys behind him, according to the unofficial depth charts, Fadil Diggs, the 7th-round draft pick, the Saints picked up. Stutzman, Jalen Ford. They got Jonah Williams listed. Jacine Davis, DeMarco Jackson, Nephi Sewell, Isaiah Foskey's thrown in there as an outside guy, Stallbird, Tyreen Powell, and Chris Rumpf, the second. Them some of the guys competing. So we'll see how it all plays, man. They got a lot of people here, to be honest with you, man. We'll see how it works again. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that bam. Darwin. Jonathan Sullivan. Y'all remember that? So, and these are some of the worst. These guys were awful. I mean, simply terrible. Jonathan Sullivan stunk. He was terrible. Awful. Saints made a hell of a wrong move by drafting that guy. Y'all remember Jonathan Sullivan? Who was the guy that left and went to it wasn't Sullivan, it was another defensive tackle. Who was the other? Was it Cedric Ellis? Well, yeah, there you go. My dog got it. Jonathan Sullivan and Cedric Ellis. Y'all, man, these guys were horrible, man. They just guessed wrong on them, man. The scout department let us down on them, man. Or they just couldn't get the most out of them. That's a part of the coaching thing, right? Those guys were awful. Worst draft picks, Andrus Peace. Come on, KT. You know I got to stop you right there, bro. Right out the gate, bro. Andrus is worse than Marcus Davenport. It's Stephon Anthony, Robert Meacham, and Peyton Turner. That's the worst draft picks, bro. Andrus Pete, what? See, that's KT, man. KT threw. How you put Andrus Pete in there, bro, with a guy like Davenport who couldn't stay healthy and was just a total underperformer. Peyton Turner was the same way. Peyton Turner couldn't stay healthy either. They are by far worse than Andrus Pete. Andrus Pete's a guy that had multiple Pro Bowl appearances, played several positions for the Saints. He was a counted upon player when the Saints shifted. When Teron Armstead had issues at the left tackle position, they would literally move Andrus Pete from guard to play the tackle position, the blindside tackle position. They trusted Andrus Pete. Sean Payton trusted. He wasn't the greatest offensive lineman we had, but Andrus Pete is by far better than any of these guys that you got listed here. Stephon Anthony, I think what happened with Stephon Anthony, he didn't get a good rep either, because the first year Stephon Anthony played with the Saints, they were playing the 43 defense, and then they made a switch the second year, and I think that threw them off. No, was it the 34? It was, I forgot which style of defense they were playing. I want to say it was it was in a 3-4, something like that. Whatever happened, but the defensive switch kind of messed with him, because that first year the man was balling. I mean, he was balling. He took down Ricky Jackson's tackle record. You know what I'm saying? Nobody did. They don't. Who takes down Ricky Jackson's rookie tackle record? You don't hear any of these other guys doing. He did that in his first year. People forget about that. Then they had a switch where the Saints switched their defense, and he kind of got lost in the mix. Confidence got affected. And he never was the same. But Stephon Anthony was a beast coming out of Clemson. That first year, he was balling, calling the plays for the defense and everything. And when they made the switch, that's when it all went to hell. But I remember Stephon Anthony, bro. But you're wrong for that, KT. Putting that man Andrus Pete up there. That man actually, you're wrong for that, brother. You're wrong. He put him at the top of the list. See, KT knew that'll set me off. Nick Toon wasn't good either. Yeah, that was another. What's up, Professor? Rick Leonard. That's right. Offensive. This dude was a defensive lineman that shifted to offensive tackle. And Sean Payton put his ass on the street the first year, I want to say. And I remember, matter of fact, I remember when I was on the plane, I was on vacation going to Texas. This was a long time ago. I told y'all about this way back in the day when it happened. And Rick Leonard was on the plane. And so I sat there and talked to him on the plane. And I was like, man, what happened, man? What? He said, well, Sean, what he told me, he said, Sean told him something. I forgot what it was, what the man told me, but he was on the plane going to Texas, and he told me that he had a tryout with the Houston Texans, Rick Leonard. And I asked him, man, what happened? And I forgot what he told me, man. This is a show I did some years ago when I remember Rick Leonard told me that. He told me, hey, man, he said Sean has his guys or something like that. It's going to come to me. But I remember that. I remember that. Antonio Pittman, y'all guys, the Great Saint Think Tank. And a Black Preacher Man said they started dropping them in pass coverage. Yes, indeed. All right. Antonio Pittman was another. Shout out to Professor, man. KT, here you go, KT. Says Pete was, come on, bro. It was a mass unit. If he was really good, we wouldn't have drafted Ramcheck Q. Stop it. No, come on. We knew what it was because Teron Armstead kept getting hurt. Come on, KT. We covered this. Teron Armstead kept getting hurt. When they drafted Ram he played the right side, but they had they wanted Ram. I think he played like maybe one game at left tackle. It wasn't a lot before they settled Ram in at the right tackle position. But the reason why Ram was brought in at the tackle position, and then Coach Payton kind of shifted Andrews Pete, because remember when Pete first signed with the Saints, he was in Coach Payton's doghouse because he came in overweight. Not overweight. He came in out of shape. That's what happened. He came in, because he had to finish his testing at college, which brought him to training camp late. And when he got to camp, he was out of shape. And that Coach Payton was pissed about that. Because I remember in interviews, he was talking about it. And he ran Andrews Pete through the gamut. He was supposed to play tackle, but they shifted his position, but he made him an everything player. He played left tackle, right guard, and left guard. He played everything except for center. He never played guard ever in his career prior to Coach Payton getting him to cross-train those positions. But he was in Coach Payton's doghouse, and Coach Payton was hard on Andrews Pete, more so than anybody. He would move him over here, move him over there, and he was not pleased with Andrews Pete coming there like in that shape. And even Andrews Pete talked about that, but he didn't appreciate it at the time. But eventually he benefited from the cross training. He was able to play left tackle, right tackle, and Coach Payton them trusted him because he played the blind side tackle position when Teron Armstead got hurt. And Teron Armstead was hurt a lot. Teron Armstead was always hurt, especially toward the back end of his career. Teron Armstead missed a boatload of games. I absolutely love Teron Armstead, but to keep it real, he missed a shitload of games later on in his career. He kept getting hurt. And Pete would have to step in at the left tackle position to fill in for him. That's what Sean Payton did. Then he moved him to guard. Then he played right guard. He played every position along the Saints offensive line except for center. That's what Andrew. And then that's why I give him credit, because he actually excelled at a position that he never played before in college, and actually had a couple of Pro Bowls on that before they started handing them Pro Bowls out as trophies. So you can't tell me nothing about that guy, bro. I scouted the piss out of Pete. Yeah, his footwork wasn't the best, man, but he was a solid player. You can't put him up there with Davenport, KT. You can't do it. You can't put him up there with Davenport and Peyton Turner and who you put up there, Stephon Anthony, and what was the other guy that you put up there? You can't put that man up there. That man played many games and he got Pro Bowls. He excelled at the position. He was actually a decent player when he was healthy. You can't put him up there with no Davenport, bro. Come on, man. He had him number one.
Stop the cap.
He had the damn man up there number one on there. I say, hold on, KT. Hold on, straight out the bat. He had the man up there number one. Like, hold on, bro. What you talking about? See, you could have at least slipped the name in further to the back of the list, but to put him up top, and you got him there, and you got Davenport there, and then what? No, of course not. Come on, brother. It's just that you can't change KT mind. He hates Andrews Pete. KT hates Andrews Pete. That's what it comes down to. You can't change his mind, regardless of what I said, that Davenport, Peyton Turner, Stephon Anthony, and whoever else you put up there, they don't have no Pro Bowls. They ain't playing many games as that man. He was a starter and have an impact. He had an impact. You can't put Andrews Pete up there, man. That's just hate. Now, KT, you hating now, brother. You done crossed the line, brother. You hating on that man, brother. Stop it, bro. Stop hating on Andrews Pete. He ain't never on the game. He ain't on the damn team no more. He just hating on Andrews Pete now, bro. You done crossed the line, man. That's right. King Chosen wouldn't tell him. He said Pete was nice, man. Come on, bro. Come on. See, look, here it is right here. It says Q, Andrews Pete and Chase Young are always going to be on. See, there he is on the shit list. There it is. See, you don't make you just don't. You hating KT. You hating. You said that Chase Young was a bad, that he wasn't going to work. He was going to get hurt. You said that last year. You said when they was trying to sign Chase Young, like Q, they ain't going to work. He got an injury history of this type of stuff. What that man did. He proved, he knew he came in here playing on a 1-year prove-it deal. The one thing he needed to do is show up and show out. He did. I think, what was he? He had, 3 or 4 sacks last year? And he actually went out there. He played decently, and he stayed healthy, and he was able to get the job. Come on, KT. I just don't understand, bro. All right, anyway, man, let's get out of here. The last talking point, man, we're going to talk about it. KT hating, man. Why you hating, KT? Stop that hating, man. All right, anyway, man. Y'all hear this, man? Desi, you hear him hating on that, man? You hear that? Chill out, says Byron, man. Richard, what's up? Richard said Young had a good year. He was one of the top pressure guys. KT was slamming that man. He was saying, man, we don't need that dude here, Q. That dude, all he do is get hurt. And I say, KT, we got to let the man prove to see what he can do. Now, granted, it started off kind of shaky because when they signed, when he left Carolina, I said, hold on, there's a problem because Carolina needed the pass rush. They got rid of Burns to the Giants. So they was trying to get a pass rusher there. And Chase Young made sense. But when he went there and then left, and then they signed 2 pass rushers, which was DJ Wonnum and somebody else, I forgot. They signed, was it Corey Wooten? It was Wooten and Corey Wooten and DJ Wonnum. I want to say that they signed when Chase Young left. And when he came to New Orleans and the Saints signed, I'm like, that's interesting. Why did Carolina let him go? And they was a team that needed him. And then when the Saints signed him, people was like, man, we got Chase Young. And then the next day or the day after that, Chase Young needed to have surgery. So it started off funny like that, but it had a good ending. He didn't get hurt for the rest of the season. He played the entire season. He stuck to it, and the Saints rewarded him with a multi-year deal. So, I mean, you can't be mad at that, KT. All right, anyway. Yeah, he got 5 sacks. Thank you, Black Preacher, man. Appreciate it. I'm sorry, y'all. KT got me laughing at this hate he got going on today, bro. It's a Sunday, KT. Stop hating, brother. It's 9 to hate day. It's a Sunday, brother. What's up, Marcos? Shout out to you, man. All right, Jack says Andrews Pete was old after the first year we drafted him. All right, come on, Jack. Don't get infected by the hatred that KT is spewing out in the chat, brother. Don't do it. All right, so let's kind of go into the backup offensive line. So we talking lineman talk. We're talking about Andrews Pete and all this. Let's talk about the line. Your backup offensive lineman behind Kelvin Banks Jr., Trevor Penning, McCoy, Ruiz, and Tali Fuaga from left to right side are Barry Wesley, Dylan Radutz, Will Clapp, Landon Young, and Josh Ball. Right? Next level behind them, Nick Saldiveri, Torricelli Simpkins III, Josiah Rahim, Kyle Hergel, and Easton Kilty, who got benched a couple days ago for false starting, right? How do you guys, asking you, y'all chime in the chat, how do you guys feel about the Saints backup offensive lineman? Y'all put it in the chat. Let me know. How do you feel? Right? How do you guys feel about that? Because this is something that I've been kind of focusing on, and I like the Saints starting line, but how do you feel about the backups, man? Can Josh Ball, Barry Wesley, these guys step in and handle business for some of our other guys? Do we need to focus there and get better people? I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not really feeling the inexperiencedness of some of our offensive linemen, and simply because of what we experienced last year. Y'all remember we had all those players, we talked about it, right? With McCoy, remember the show? Y'all put one in the chat. Y'all remember the show when I talked about all of the injuries? See, people only thinking about McCoy's 8 games that he missed last year. They're not looking at the last 3 years or so of games that he missed, and we were able to catalog it on an article here on the show and talk about, see, he had missed this many games and this many games, then missed, and then every year he was missing games. Last year was 8. That, when you see that pattern happens, you have to be like, man, we're gonna have to draft somebody or sign somebody that is reputable, that's pretty good, that can come in here and back them up. But the guy could play center and guard if something was to happen with McCoy, because McCoy missing a lot of games over the last several years, right? So, but people know how important Eric McCoy is to the offensive line. We seen it last year in that Philly game when we lost him in the first offensive series. The Saints had to reshuffle the line, move a guy from left guard to center, bringing a guard off the bench, and that's what coaches don't want to do. They don't. If you lose a guy, you just want to switch out a guy for a guy, right? If you lose a center, you want to switch out and put a center for center, right? And keep guards and tackles in place. The Saints shifted their line because they didn't have a backup center on the team. You got a guard to play center, which was what was the guy name of? Y'all put it in the chat. It was the backup guy we had here last year. He wasn't no starter, but he was just a backup for a full season. But the crazy part about it is they didn't have an actual center on the roster. And this year, you see, Kellen Moore comes in and he signs Will Clapp. Now, Will Clapp is a really smart dude, right? There's no doubt about it that Will Clapp could pick up the protections and do the things that McCoy does, right? Lucas Patrick. It wasn't Connor McGovern. McGovern was the center that they brought in later on, but in that particular game, they moved Lucas Patrick from guard to center. Y'all remember? That's right, KT. It was Lucas Patrick. Connor McGovern, the Saints got him weeks later off the practice squad from the Jets. And then when, what was the guy that name sounds like the skunk? What's his name? What I call it, Pepe Le Pew. What was the dude name? Put it in the chat, man. These crazy name characters. But when McGovern got in there, was actually doing a decent job, because McGovern was a 7 or 8 year veteran who played the center position. So they had a good pickup there. But when not Udo, not Ali Udo, it was the other guy, Shane Lemieux. It was Shane Lemieux. When Shane Lemieux was hurt, and he's always been hurt, but when Lemieux got healthy, they put Connor McGovern in the street. I'm like, what? McGovern is way better than Shane Lemieux. And it was just some curious decisions. But anyway, all that fracas that happened with the shifting of the line here was something I was like, man, we have to pay better attention to the backups. So they bring in Barry Wesley. Josh Ball, and I looked up some of these guys. These guys, I'm not really impressed with these guys. Now, listen, maybe you got an offensive line coach rather, that can get the most out of some of these guys and turn them into people that I never recognized before. It happens from time to time, but I'm not big on Landon Young. I've seen enough of Landon Young to know that he's not going up anymore. It's like he done crowned and he's kind of where he is. He's not going to get any better than what he is. I've seen enough of Landon Young. Nick Saldiveri can't stay healthy. You know, he always got an issue. This year when he opened up, when it was in OTAs, the dude had a calf issue. And I'm like, damn, how this dude, there's always something with this guy. So you can't count on him. Josiah Israhim is still raw. So is Torricelli Simpkins III and Easton Kilty. So Dylan Runnels is the most senior member of your backups, him and Will Clapp. But where else? What if we have issues at the tackle position? What then we do? What do we do? So I'm kind of still, my concern meter is still there, the backup offensive line. I still would prefer to have some more veteran linemen there, so to speak, because can you really vouch for any of these guys? Any of the great Saint Think Tank, the family members in the chat, fill it in, put it in the chat. What do you think about Barry Wesley? I know about Dylan Redunce. I know about Will Clapp. What do you guys think about Barry Wesley, Landon Young, Josh Ball, and these other guys is backups behind Kelvin, Trevor, Eric, Cesar, and Tolly? What's y'all call? What are y'all scouting reports on these guys? What do y'all know? Because I'm going to be honest with you, I'm kind of leery in that aspect of the team, to be honest with you. All right. Anyway, man, that's what I want to talk about as far as that concern. We get a few things for you as well. Hurricane Mike says, our line has to be tough. Yes, indeed. My dog says Josiah is pretty good as raw talent, better than I thought. Thank you, my dog. King Eternal says, I think we have to trust the new medical staff. All right.
Talk, boy.
Hey, I guess that's a way to go around it, huh, brother? I asked straight up specific ass answers, and then my dog King Eternal says, "Dog, Q, we just gonna have to trust." So they just can't get hurt for the rest of the year, right, brother? We just got to trust that they keep. Okay, I got you, King Eternal. Q, we just go ahead and listen, Q. We just got to trust in our medical staff. All right, brother, you're right. Reginald says, who that fam? Shout out to you, brother Reginald. Richard says, I hope we can see something with bars going because I agree. I think we still need help. Maybe they'll see how rough the backups are and sign Lyle Collins. Thank you, Richard. That's the point. Maybe we need some more practice for it to sink in that we need help there, right? All right. KT says, not a fan of the backups. Thank you, bro. That Black Preacher Man says Penning is your backup at tackle. Oh my God. No. And no, I think Penning, I don't think they're gonna put Penning anywhere near that if it's gonna be, because they can use Landon Young at tackle. They've done that before. Redunce can play the guard position. Clapp plays center and guard. Josh Ball and these other guys, man. It's I still think we need work. We'll see though. Byron says, Q, we got some two veterans outside. I don't think Barry Wesley, Josh Ball, and other guys. You never heard of them. Okay, thank you, Byron, brother Byron. All right. All right, KT says Simpkins and these don't even need time on the practice squad. Yeah, I know, bro. We gonna see. We got to trust the Q. Hold on, Q. We just gonna have to trust the medical staff, brother. Yeah, we gotta make sure they just trust the medical staff and pray that our starting line never gets hurt this entire damn year. That's what I'm talking about. Richard says Penning was letting Brissett and others slap him around. Yeah, Shane Lemieux. Reginald says we need quality backups who can step in and out and never lose a beat. That's true. And that's the whole thing. It's like if you're a running offense and that's what you want to do, you want to make sure these guys, maybe they fierce running blockers. You know, I looked a few of them up, and what I seen, I wasn't really that impressed. But then again, perhaps they just didn't have the right coach to draw it out of them, you know, so to speak. So it bears some more looking. So, and we're gonna keep looking. That's the bottom line. All right. Yeah. Oh, thank you, BC Lewis. Shout out to BC Lewis, man, for being here. Appreciate you, my brother, for being in the building. Rod says Q pinning with Excel. I'm standing on that. Okay, all right. I'm gonna remember that, brother. Professor says don't sleep on Vaughn Johnson. Don't sleep. Oh, for the linebacker position. Yeah. Well, Professor, look, give me your top four. Professor always make great calls in there. Uncle Paulie, shout out to Uncle Paulie, man. I seen him in the chat. The other show, man. Shout out to Uncle Paulie. All right, Jack says roster still paper thin, even with 9 draft picks. Yeah, it's Kellen Moore kind of building his team. Saints signed a lot of people on the defense. All these defensive people like Jonah Williams, Chris Rump the second. They picked up what was the big Bullard, Jonathan Bullard. What was the other guy they got from the Williams, Jonah Williams? They signed like 4 different guys like to come in. So they just were adding people to the defense, trying to just stop the running of the ball and do what they need to do there. So we talk about what the 5-1 penny, and we seen that there. So there's going to be some interesting defenses that the Saints going to roll out. Man, I'm looking forward to this, man, to see how this all go. Yeah, now Vaughn Johnson to me is a very good one, but it's kind of difficult to kind of pin him if you look at Vaughn Johnson. Because if you have to rank the Dome Patrol linebackers, right? You rank ranking them inside of their own unit. Like who's Ricky Jackson, Sam Mills, Pat Swilling, Vaughn Johnson. You see what I'm saying? You even ranking them within their own self. And then when you add a guy like Jonathan Vilma or Demario Davis into the mix, or even if you break them down and just rank them in terms of inside linebackers, right, and get more finer there, the best inside linebacker the Saints ever had is Sam Mills. No doubt about it. Then where do you go after that? Is Vaughn Johnson, was he better than Demario Davis? Right? How do you rank that? Where is Jonathan Vilma in that greatest inside linebacker conversation? Right? You talk about outside the greatest outside linebackers, Ricky Jackson, Pat Swilling. Who's that? Where does Mark Fields rank? Because Mark Fields is pretty good too. You got other guys, but you know that's what you do. You know, so it's just really tough to kind of rank those guys when you start thinking about it, man. That's how I look at it anyway. All right. Anyway, yeah, that would have. But Ross did Foskey? No, Foskey's still on the team. They just moved him to linebacker there. So yeah, he's still there. All right. Tim says all 4 went to the Pro Bowl in the same. That's crazy work, right? I don't think we'll ever see that again. You know, 4 of them. That's how great they were. They were the heart and soul of that. They knew they were just fearless, physical, and they was just, them guys were awesome as a unit, man. The Dome Patrol. They were just phenomenal. Yeah, that was awesome. All 4 of them. That's why they had the old Dome Patrol pictures with them in front of the Jeeps and all that. You didn't see no other people. The Dome Patrol was just 4 linebackers. What about the 3 down linemen in the secondary members? They had to be in their feelings. Like, man, how y'all gonna put these 4? Even though they're phenomenal, they can't do it without us up front. You know, so Jim Wilkes and them guys had to be in their feelings, right? They had to be. Frank Warren was a beast. He don't get no kind of credit. And Jim Wilkes and all, they don't get no credit for what they did. We know with the 34 defense, the front 3 got to be handling their business for them guys to be handling theirs. If the front 3 ain't handling their business, them linemen getting back there, putting hands on them linebackers, and they not covering nothing. So the front 3 had to be beasts about them so them other guys could stay clean and blitz and drop into coverage and do what they do. So I knew them guys had to be in their feelings when they seen them damn posters come out, man. And all they talk about is the Dome Patrol. You see a poster of 4 linebackers. What about the front down 3 and the Gene Atkins and Brett Maxey and all them guys? They had to be in their feelings. Like, dog, how y'all do that to us? We in the deep. We here too. You know? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Frank Warren and Jim Wilkes, them guys were good, man. It just got outshined. But you got to remember, you don't have a defense if you don't have them guys up front. That's real spill. Anyway, with that being said, listen, fam, I appreciate y'all tonight talking to y'all about the Saints, man, going back in the day. Even talk about, what's up, Trey? Trey with the Rattler. Yeah, that's right, fam. Rattler is running this thing right now. He's ahead, man. Tyler Shuck, man, smart kid. He gonna step up. He gonna learn. He gotta learn. But right now, it's the Spencer Rattler show. You know, they gave Jake Hainer an opportunity to get in there to see what he got to do, but it's still the Spencer Rattler show. You know, it's still a Spencer Rattler show. And it's just what we said it was going to be. So it's still fun because it's going to be a competition all the way through and it's going to be fun. Right. So it's all good. All right. So anyway, with that being said, man, we're going to get ready to get out on that, man. What's up, Tragic? Shout out. What's up, Tim? Shout out to Tim, Tragic. Yeah. Desi says she loves Rattler. Yeah. Rattler is the temperament of these quarterbacks, man. I love both their temperaments. I love the chip on the shoulder of both those guys. I love the accountability aspect of it. I think we got two winners here. They the right kind of quarterback. I would love to guide my team. And the fact that we know the Saints going to be running the ball with AK-41. Kendre Miller is healthy according to what he's saying he's fit 10 pounds lighter, feeling really good, not dealing with any injuries at all. That means we getting ready to see the best version of Kendre Miller we've ever seen. We got Tom Rath operating the medical staff. He's doing this, operating practices where they're getting the proper rest and rehab they need while, getting the most out of them. This is a new look for us because, let's just be honest. We not nearly was that the last 4 years with players getting hurt and soft tissue injuries and all this kind of foolishness. So it simply is what it is. It's a positive, and we are headed in the right direction despite our naysayers nationally, right? So anyway, I'm going to get out here. Do me a service, fam. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the sub button if you're not a sub. Check out the links in the description section below for my awesome sponsors and Optory. This is a service where you having issues online, virtual issues. They'll take you off a spam list. They'll take all this kind of stuff. They do it all. There is a link in the description section that give you more information and even a discount. Mint Mobile for the cell phone service for people want to save some money. And of course, Teach Henley is for men's skincare, help you get that game a part of it. Check in the links and help the show by showing the sponsors. Also go to the whothatdaily.com for all your news and items. whothatdaily.com is now an official full service news website covering everything, man. We are in the building. So with that being said, I'm gonna get ready to get out on that. I appreciate y'all, man. And I'll be back Monday as the Saints have practice. We'll have a recap and we'll talk about it more on our Monday stream. So much love to y'all, and I'll see you later. Peace, and who that tell you.
Yeah. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Long as I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. Sports coma, yeah, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like Benson, I'm a who that. I'm a who that. Sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Somebody please better help. Running this thing like elf. I thank God every day I'm not a felt. Go to YouTube Live with Big Q and the guys. If you ain't ride or die, the bandwagon get flipped. Been marching in, that was way for the ring. I was yelling out your chain for the championship. Fucking on town, duck down. Falcons, pluck, get shut down. Panthers ain't much touchdown. The vision really belong to us now. So much hate on the Saints, you could probably tell. Ever since Bounty Gate hit the NFL, when things seem fishy and you probably smell the crooked referees are Roger Goodell. Buggy like this and I'm a who that. Every day I'm living, I'm a who that. Lose or winning, I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that. Where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that, where we do that. Boogie like this and I'm a who that. It's the sports coma, this is where we do that.
You're listening to the Sports Coma with Big Q and the guys on the PRO Media Network.
WhoThatDaily.com. That's right, the WhoThatDaily.com. Your one-stop shop for everything New Orleans Saints, New Orleans Pelicans, LSU Tigers, even the top flight boxing news. So if you're a Who Dat and you're looking for a place to stay up on your team, WhoThatDaily.com is your site. The WhoThatDaily.com for the sport Who Dat in all of us. That's right, the Pro Shop is the platform store where you can go and buy all the latest merch to support the platform. Available at the Pro Shops, we have dozens of hundreds of products available for you and your family. Unisex tees for men and women, hoodies and sweatshirts, tank tops, kids and baby items, long sleeve tees, mugs, pillows, wall art, bath bedding, face masks, phone cases, stickers, bags, fanny packs, socks, hats, and many other items. Please feel free to check out the Pro Shops. The link is in the description section below. And remember, it helps the platform continue to grow. Check out the Pro Shop and Who Dat.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here for Mint Mobile. Now, I first ditched big wireless and started using Mint Mobile way back in 2019. Back then, you could get premium wireless for only $15 a month. Today, Mint Mobile's premium wireless has gone up by, okay, wow, that's it, zero. It's gone up $0 a month since 2019. That doesn't seem fiscally responsible to me, but again, you're welcome. And I'm not an accountant. Hate math, always hated math. True story, I was in math 10A when I was in 12th grade.
Being amazing is uncomplicated with Tiege Hanley's simplified skincare system. Here's how it works. Go to Tiege.com, pick your system, and get handsome. 3 simple steps. Wash, scrub, and moisturize. It's that simple.
Guys, go to Tiege.com and get started today.
To be a therapist, in my opinion, is one of the most humbling things ever.
A platform like BetterHelp is very important because it allows access to affordable mental health care.